Hi, I'm Angela H. Brown. I'm the Executive Director for Craft Lake City. The Craft Lake City Business Academy is taught for creatives by creatives. These business courses are led by established makers in the Salt Lake City art scene. You'll be learning tips, tricks, and trade secrets from their combined decades of experience. I hope you enjoy this class, and thank you so much for your support of Craft Lake City and Utah's creative community.
I'm Amanda. I'm the founder of MOCHI Kids. I founded MOCHI Kids in 2015. I started it as a hobby. My oldest son, Steven, is on the autism spectrum, and he was so obsessed with Thomas the Train and specifically like a Thomas the Train shirt. And I got so sick and tired of him wearing it every day that I decided I can make other shirts for him based on things that he loves in an aesthetic that I would appreciate. And so he's really into science, into nature. And so those are a lot of the themes that I use for my designs. So as you can see here, this is like a longer version of my elevator pitch, but we create cute, comfortable clothing that kids and parents love. And our designs are inspired by our kids' favorite things with a non-cheesy aesthetic that parents appreciate. So that's how I got started. We started primarily with graphic tees, and we've moved to pajamas, sweatpants, and a lot of other things. So these are 3 words that I use to define my brand. We're playful, modern, and confident. And this is me. This just talks a little bit about myself. Like I said, I'm a mom, and I started my business as a hobby and slowly and organically have grown from there. My audience, I like to say that my audience is myself. My brand started as a way to fulfill a need within my own family. And so that's kind of my North Star as far as what I create is I'm always creating things that I would put on my own kids and that I love. So this, we're gonna go more into this in this presentation about who our customer is and defining that. And this talks about our product, the softest ever. Teas are our bread and butter, but we also make the other clothing items I told you about. And then these are some of the collaborations we've done. We licensed our design to a cookie company and a sticker company. And we did an exclusive tee for micro kickboard scooters. And then we made this little dumpling set with a handmade dumpling company. And then in 2020, we added the Mochi Play store, which is a curated store with design focused and kid approved toys and gifts. And we are more than just cute clothes. Since our founding, we've used our platform to raise money and awareness for causes that are important to us. From racial equity to voting rights to women's health, we believe that actions as simple as what we wear and how we spend our dollars can change the world we live in for the better. So yeah, I very often will be posting about politics and all those things and doing fundraisers. Social media. So I'm going to start by talking about the different social media platforms. And I want you to think about where your audience hangs out, where your customer spends their time. So Instagram is the #1 for my customer, and I feel like a lot of brands feel the same way. Instagram is a very visual platform. It's a great way to show your product in a lifestyle setting, and it has a lot of functionality. So Instagram, You can link to products on Instagram. People can shop through it. It has the video feature where they can do like a YouTube video, full-length video. You can do a live video. It just has so many different functions. It's really like so many apps in one. So Facebook, how I use Facebook is for more like community and group building. So for Mochi Kids, we have our Mochi Kids fam group, and that is where a lot of my best customers are. And they use that group to buy and sell and trade Mochi Kids, and to post customer photos, to ask about upcoming releases, and to put in like suggestions of what they'd like to see from us in the future. And also it's used, I give like special perks to people in that group. So they get sneak peeks. They also will get giveaways. Sometimes, a lot of the times, if I launch a giveaway on my Instagram, I'll do like a mini giveaway in my Facebook group to try to boost my engagement on that post. Or if there's anything that I want to boost like my visibility on, I will post about that in my Facebook group and send people to Instagram. And I just realized that I just went over like a couple Instagram things that I should have mentioned, which is engagement and visibility. Instagram and Facebook are both based on algorithms. So back in the day, you would get a post chronologically on depending on when the person posted it. They'd all be in like a nice little order. But now Instagram and Facebook use algorithms to determine what content to show you. And I'm sure you all know this, but the higher the engagement you have on your post, and engagement is likes, comments, saves. If someone sends your post to someone else, the more visibility that post gets, and it's shown to a wider audience, because it tells, when you have that activity on your post, it tells Facebook that this is like a high quality piece of content and we want to share this with more people. So another great thing about Facebook is Facebook ads. It's recently been changing a little because Facebook or Google said that Facebook can no longer track people as like they used to. So in the past, you could put what's called a Facebook pixel on your website, or you still can. So on my website, I have something called a Facebook pixel. And what it is it's numbers. It's a piece of code, and that sends all the data from my website to Facebook. So anybody who ever visits my website, if you have a Facebook profile, we now know that, and we can send you an ad. It sounds so creepy, and it really is kind of creepy, but it's a very effective tool for small businesses like myself. It's a very inexpensive way to advertise and to get new customers. It has been used for bad things in the past with politicians and things like that. But yeah, so a Facebook pixel is something that I recommend everybody get on their website. And that just, even if you're not planning on running ads, you're starting to collect that customer data so that you can know your customer better and you can advertise to them. Facebook is also, so that's what the tracking is. So the Facebook ad platform, if you want to run ads on Instagram, I'm sure you've seen ads on your story, on your feed. That's all done through Facebook. So they work together when you you use your Facebook ad account to advertise on Facebook and Instagram. So I put those at the top because I feel like those are the most important social media sites. Also, if you want to do Instagram shopping, which is a function of Instagram where people can actually check out and purchase from your Instagram feed, you have to have a Facebook with your catalog and everything on it. So this may not be a priority right now, but this should be like on a to-do list for sometime in the future of getting a Facebook pixel. And you can Google like, how do I get a Facebook pixel? And to have a Facebook catalog, your product catalog on your Facebook, so that you can in the future do Instagram shopping and Facebook shopping. Okay, that was a lot of information, and I'm happy to share my slides with you too, and if you need to reference that. So Pinterest is the next social media platform that I put on here. Pinterest for me primarily, I use it. It's very visual. It's all based on photos, like Instagram is, and it's a great place for inspiration to get like a vibe for something, to create a mood board, which we will talk about later, and to get a feel for just like colors. There's tons of, like, if you want to look up color palettes, you can find those on Pinterest. For me, I use it to, if I want to share like outfit inspiration. That's something that parents are into for their kids, like first birthday outfit inspiration, those kinds of things. You can pin on Pinterest, and then people who are planning their kid's first birthday, they can come across your pin and they'll say, oh, this outfit is cute, I want to get this for my kid's birthday. TikTok, I put question marks here because I am not a TikTok person. I know it's very popular though. I know that it's used a lot for kind of like before and afters and like tutorial kind of things, and also just any kind of funny like video content. My sister actually works at TikTok in Singapore. That's where they're headquartered, because I'm half Singaporean. So she works for them, and she just got hired on how they are building out, how they're going to monetize TikToks for advertising and for business. So hopefully in about 6 months, I can have some really useful information for you guys. But for now, I don't believe TikTok has that. And please like write in the chat, correct me if I'm wrong, chime in. I don't know a lot about the TikTok platform, but it is a very popular platform for younger people, and people my age are on there too. From your social media page, you should be able to get the feeling of your vibe, and you should be able to tell what you sell just right at a glance. It should convey your value propositions. I like to say in the top 9 squares, you want people to be able to just scroll through the first several pictures and know what your value propositions are. And it should be pretty. So since it is visual, it is really important that you're using high quality photography, high quality design, that it just is like a great representation of your brand. Instagram. So like I was saying, Instagram is a visual representation of your brand, and you should be able to tell what you sell at a glance. Your top 9 squares should reflect your value propositions. Your photos should be clear, bright, non-blurry. If you're not a photographer, there's a lot of great tools that you can still use to have a high quality photo. So Photoshop, that one requires money and a computer, so that might not be a great option for everyone. There's an app called Lightroom, and some people just use the photo editing software right on their phone. If you click on the photo section of your phone, there should be an option to edit it, and you can brighten it, you can change the contrast, things like that. So I recommend definitely like playing around with that. Some people like to use what's called presets. So they buy they buy a thing called a preset, and it automatically will edit your photos so they look very uniform and consistent, like in the editing, the brightness and the contrast and everything. So it just flows together really well. I don't use those. My rule of thumb is I just make them pretty bright and try to get the colors to be true without any filters. Like I was saying, Instagram is highly functional, and you really want to use its functions. So the more activity that you're getting on your Instagram, the more, like I was saying with the algorithm, the more visibility you're going to get. So one of the strategies that I use is, if I have something in my story that I really want people to see, leading up to it, I'll do something like a poll or the little slider where people can like slide across if they like something, or put in a question box, and try to boost that engagement so that my story will get more visibility. And I do notice that when I do that, I can get like 4 times as much visibility. So you want to use those functions. If you have a sale, if you're launching a product, you can use the countdown tool and that will send your customers a reminder. Like, it's just such an amazing app. And so let's talk about content. So something that I've struggled with in the past, and I'm sure lots of people have struggled with, is like, what do you share on Instagram or Facebook? For Instagram, you should create content that reflects your brand, visual, written, your value propositions. Sometimes if I don't know what to say, I'll just post a good picture and then I'll write one of my value propositions, like designs kids and parents love, something like that. That doesn't get the best engagement, but I'm putting that out there into the world and helping my customer get that message, so that in the future, when they're like, oh, when they're telling their friends like, oh, Mochi Kids is designed for kids and parents, like all the themes are like things my kids love. So when we're like reiterating those things over and over again and telling them to your customer in all the different ways, they'll start to learn about them and internalize them a little bit. So I really believe that your Instagram feed, and this is all my opinion, other people do things differently and that's okay. But in my opinion, I think Instagram feed posts should be highly curated. So they should be really pretty and look good visually. Instagram story can be more casual, and I'll even post blurry stuff in my stories, messy stuff, whatever. But in both things, I kind of have decided what topics that I want to post and repost about that complement my brand and that kind of reinforce my brand. So for instance, I'm always posting about Asian American things, like about dumplings. If you follow me, like never, if I'm eating Asian food, like everybody knows, because I always post about that. If I'm eating like a roast, like a pot roast, like I don't post that because it doesn't fit with my brand. But Asian food like definitely fits with my brand. I'm always posting about things that are well designed, especially in the kids space, because most of my customers are parents, and mom things and important social and political issues. So those are all things. And I think that it's maybe you would want to kind of think about what other topics are complementary to your brand that you can post about. And you can create a series about it. Like I think people know that I'm always posting about dumplings, like, because they'll tell me that I'm always posting about dumplings and things like that. But yeah, so think about those things that are not, necessarily your products, but that complement it. And Instagram is a social platform. So if you're sharing the work of someone else that complements your brand, and then they're resharing that, that's a great way to get more, to build community, first of all, and to also get more exposure. Because if you are sharing other people's stuff, they're going to be more open to sharing your stuff. It is kind of like reciprocal, and the same with your commenting and your liking of other people's posts and your follows. It is, social media is social. There is this community aspect. So I definitely, would definitely do those things. And just start thinking, maybe put that on your to-do list. Think about other things you could post about, probably just in your story, that complement your brand, other brands that you like. I've gotten a lot of partnerships that way, like just slowly building friendships that involved into like collaborations and giveaways and things like that. So I also share a lot of behind the scenes. So I like to always kind of have this running narrative of my brand where people know what's happening, the past, the present, the future, like what we're doing. And some people don't do that. I feel like I'm pretty personal in my social media, but it's kind of fun. It gives people something to look forward to. And at least for my customers, a lot of us are moms that are at home with their children, or a lot of working moms too. But I think that having that narrative really builds community as well. And then create a series so customers know what to expect and look forward to seeing in my story. So I feel like since I've been so vocal about social justice and things like that, that's definitely like a series or theme, is like when something happens, I'm always like sharing about it, Or if another theme that I am doing is like I used to do like always like Jonah's outfit like almost every day, so people could see like what Jonah is, my 2-year-old, so you could see what he's wearing every day. And during the pandemic, he just wears the same thing every day, so it's not as exciting of a series anymore. I have a friend who's a designer, and a mom, and so she'll take a picture of whatever kid's book she's reading to her kid that night, and it's always like very well designed, like beautifully illustrated book. And so it's just like a little thing that you could do to kind of add that personal touch and get people like to look forward to seeing your story on the little thing at the top, like, oh, what's Jonah wearing today or whatever, and they'll click on my story. Facebook. So this is talking about Facebook a little bit in depth. So this is what I was talking about, building a community. You give what you get with social media. You want to be, liking other people's posts, resharing their work, things like that. You can create your own group for your brand. And you can also find a community or group that's complementary to your brand and promote yourself. Some groups will like frown down upon that, like promoting yourself within the group, but others like encourage it. As a business owner, I also have used Facebook groups as like a resource to find, like I found actually both ad agencies that I've worked at through Facebook groups and to get recommendations for things. So it's definitely a great tool. So these are just some examples of things in my community group. So this customer posted her kids and some of our like throwback designs. This is somebody who's selling some of their old Mochi Kids shirts. And then this is a poll that I did to help me decide like what colors to do for our 4th of July collection. Just the vibe I've been getting lately from giveaways is that people are like a little bit sick of giveaways. Like it's not as like effective as it used to be. But if you are going to do a giveaway, it can be really great if you partner with a company that has a very similar audience to yours and whose product is really complementary, or if you're doing something that's very like on trend and very relevant and you partner with someone who's also doing like something complementary and relevant and on trend. I often will get asked to do giveaways with just random companies, like not even in the kids space. And those ones are just not as successful because my audience is looking for kids stuff. They're not looking for like barbecues or anything like that. Well, they might want a barbecue actually, but I hope you understand what I mean. Like they can be effective. And I've seen a lot of brands experimenting with different ways to do giveaways. So recently I did a giveaway with a company called Slumberkins, and they did the giveaway only on Instagram. And we both posted the same Instagram story, and it said follow. So mine said follow Slumberkins, and it linked to them. And then it says, and slide the slider across to enter. So then there's just that little slider thing, and that's all they had to do. And that one was one of my best performing giveaways, just because it was so easy for someone to enter. They didn't have to like do a bunch of things. And I think if you ask someone to do a bunch of things, they're less likely to enter, especially if they need to write something. So I think that it can be really effective as long as you're partnering with the right people.
I think the giveaways that people are tired of is when there's like 6 brands and you have to go to each of their Instagram accounts and follow to be entered. But if you want something like that for your giveaway, there are now sites that will manage those for you. Like they'll have one email sign up that will then disperse all of the emails to all of the brands to add to their mailing list. And so there are things you can do to make it a lot easier for people to participate, and you still get the value out of it, is what I would suggest.
I'll echo that too. Giveaways aren't doing so strong for us anymore. I still do one for our yearly party just because it's fun. But like what's working for us right now is Instagram lives. And even when I can share with like another friend, like, oh, let's share what we found this week and what's coming into the shop. It's more like they're gearing towards a community space. That seems to help my engagement a lot.
People don't really want to put in a lot of effort sometimes, but I know like with artists specifically, and maybe you could use this like in a more creative way with brands, but I've been doing a lot of like drawing challenges and things like that, which basically if you create your own drawing challenge, like a draw this in your style, or like I have like a Halloween drawing challenge, it gets people to tag you in all of their posts, and share your work as well, and it gets your social media all over the place. And that is probably the biggest thing, honestly, that has helped me grow my social media following, is just finding ways to get people to share your work. And that has really helped with that. So I'll host like a draw this in your style. People will draw this character in their own style. They'll post it, they'll tag me, and then people will find me that way. So things like that, I think work really great.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely true. Something that I've done, and I know other people do, is to create like shareable content. Like last year, I did like a 4th of July post, and it was like my USA shirt, which is just like a USA with like a happy face on each letter, but I changed it to like dark brown, like light brown beige, so it's kind of skin toned. And like my caption was something like equality for all, or I don't know, something like that. But that like hit a nerve with people, and I think it kind of like was like how I was feeling about the 4th of July last year. And so people really shared that a ton. And so if you create that kind of content that is on brand for you, but also very shareable, that can help to boost your visibility and get more followers and things like that.
If you're looking for different types of content to share, an account that is local that is called Made by Mayberry, and she's an earring maker, but she's a vintage seller in her past life, but now she makes earrings, and she grew her account in the last year and a half to like over 25,000. And like, that's impressive to me because it's really hard to grow your account now in this like Instagram world. And so she does a lot of things, like Amanda said. She has quotes that she stamps out. She makes clay earrings, so she stamps them out in her clay, and they're shareable. She has tons of polls and interactivity. So I would just find an account like hers, or someone who you notice is growing fast, and do what they do, and just try to make it personable, try to interact with people. Like every time you post, and I'm not great at this, but every time you post, you should have a reason for someone to respond to you. Like, what do they like about that? It can't just be like, and I do this all the time, like, look at my ring. It can't just be that. It needs to be like, which ring do you like, this one or this one? Or where would you wear this to? Or it just needs to be engaging and it's a conversation more than buy my stuff. But yeah, just following someone who's doing good and do what they do, not copying directly, but interpreting it in your own way, is a good way to grow your following. And it will just take time. And if you don't like Instagram, don't do it. Do something else, because they can get really overwhelming, and you have to kind of pick your platform and be good at that platform. I wouldn't try to do all of the platforms.
Yeah, I feel the same way. It's very exhausting to do a lot of social media or even use a lot of different apps on your phone. So I would just choose one that works with you and isn't too stressful and that you feel like comfortable with. And definitely check out Made by Mayberry. Like Stacy said, she makes the most beautiful clay pieces, and actually told me that other clay artists have been kind of copying what she's been doing and like creating like quotes in clay. And yeah, I also thought of another friend, and she does her like challenges on video, like those challenges where like you like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of one. So like there's one where you're supposed to like move your partner from like the front to the back without like touching the floor or something like that. I don't know if I'm explaining that well, but like actual like physical challenges. And so she posts those like videos of her and her husband doing this stuff. And then she's like, okay, if you do it, like tag me. And they do, and she's grown like so much from it.
I also am terrible at this, but showing your own face is a really good way to get engagement. And it can be you any time of the day, any way you want to show up, but just showing the face behind the brand helps your engagement a lot. And I don't do it a lot, but I know I follow more people and check in on what they're doing when they're the ones who show who they are. And just from classes I've taken, that's definitely, I don't know, Instagram knows what you look like and likes to see your face.
That is so true. And anytime I like am in my video, I get so many more views on my story. And you don't have to look amazing. You can just be in whatever. I feel like part of my brand is being a mom. And so I often don't have any makeup on, or I'm in like pajamas. And I think that that's totally relatable. So how I use my branding and social media is I do just what you said, is I use my brand colors in my Instagram story, and even in my feed. I also always either do like one product photo, one customer photo, one product photo, one customer photo, or I'll do one product photo, 3 customer photos, one product photo, 3 customer photos. So I kind of have this like rhythm where visually when you look at it, it's like person, product, person, product, person, product. And then if I have one product with a blue background, the next person that I post will just have like a blue accent or something like that. So I do like visually think out like how I'm incorporating our colors into the Instagram feed. And if I did like a lot of blue at the top, I'll be like, okay, I need to break it up with some neutrals and reds and like or tans or whatever. So that's one way that I incorporate my branding. Also, if I hire like a photographer to photograph their kids, or if I'm doing any kind of collaboration, I always send a photo guide to them. So my photo guide basically says it has to be clear, bright, unfiltered photos. You have to be able to see the full graphic if it's a graphic tee in the photo, because sometimes people will send like a sideways one and you don't know what the shirt says or anything like that. Yeah, so that's kind of like my photo guidelines.
I used to take all of my product photos on like a dark gray background because I liked how it looked, and it was sometimes easier to get to look really sharp than like a white background if you don't have good lighting. And the Instagram algorithm hated them. And I would like once in a while post a photo with a white background or with like a lighter background, and those would do 100 times better. 100 is an exaggeration, but they would do so much better that I changed my photo style to perform better on social. So that's sort of the opposite. But I think that that's something to think about, is if your branding or your photography or whatever is getting poor engagement, like mix it up and see if you can make a change, buy a piece of white poster board and do a lot better on social.
That is a great tip. I actually use like poster board from Blick. I have like so many colors, and that's what I use a lot for my flat lays. And just what Sarah said, you kind of want to see what's performing better. So if you notice like, oh, every time I post a chubby baby, I get so many likes, that means like that's what my people want to see, is like more chubby babies. people say like dads, dogs, babies, or I've heard something like that. Like those are the things people want to see on social, like a dad with a baby and like a dog that's like golden. But yeah, kind of see what performs better. I notice when I do flat lays, those get like really a lot of likes and engagement. People maybe just at an instant when they see it, they're like, oh, I like that. And they'll just like it. So when you push the promotion button, essentially what you're doing is you're paying Instagram to show your photo to people that they think will like your photo. If you were to promote like a one-of-a-kind piece, it might not get a great return if you only have one of that item to sell. But if you were to promote something that was more of like just for awareness, like a certain kind of style or vibe, and it was like, and your caption said something like curated, highly curated, like vintage pieces or whatever, then that might do better because you're kind of like telling them what you are selling, and that could you could get some followers like based on the awareness. They might not like go to purchase that item because that item might be sold out if there's only one, but it could be a good way to raise awareness. I do run digital ads with an ad agency, and they always tell me like, don't push that promotion button. But I still do. Sometimes I just push it if I want, if I have like a really cute picture and I'm like, oh, this is going to get me a lot of followers. Like I'll push it. And sometimes I do get like a lot of followers. The reason my ad agency doesn't want us to promote ads is because when they run an ad, they target it very specifically and they track it. And then we can see like the analytics behind it, and we can know, we transfer like our tracking to my store. So I say, okay, this ad brought me this sale, and we can just connect all the dots and we can make it like tweak it to who we're sending it to. Like we could exclude people that already know about Mochi Kids, like anyone who has followed us or seen us before. Whereas on Instagram, there's only like a few customizations you can make on the promotions button, just within the app. You could always promote that ad through the Facebook business manager ad platform and get more specific. But just by pushing that button, you are a little bit limited on like the tracking and data you can get back and the targeting that you can do.
I have not really gotten any success using it. I feel like it's kind of a way for Instagram to be like, oh, here, we'll show this to more people if you just give us money. I've had way more success with Facebook ads, which Amanda talked about. You just do through Facebook, the business manager, because you can customize it more and you can pick and choose kind of who your ad goes to. I think the promoted thing, like in my experience, it seems like it only goes to people who are already following me, which doesn't really help me. That's not getting to anybody new, really. My boyfriend's used it and he thinks it's great, but personally, I don't like the promotion button.
That's definitely happened to me in the past, and sometimes if it's something that is not super unique, I'll just move forward with it, knowing that I'm not copying them. I just happen to have the same idea. But if it's something that is like extremely specific, I would maybe wait and do it later or not do it. Is just my personal opinion. But that also depends on if like what relationship you have with this person and things like that.
If your style is a bit different than hers, and especially if you name it something different, I also think if someone is like in a different city than you or has a different product type, it opens up a lot more to do something similar. Obviously, like not trying to copy them, but to do something similar. I also think it doesn't hurt to reach out to someone often and be like, oh my gosh, I had a similar idea. Sort of like let them know, like, I'm not copying you. This is like all good vibes, but so they don't find it on accident and then feel like, who is this that's copying my lunar phases idea?
Yeah, I would agree with that too. I think that we're going to kind of talk about it when I talk about like competition and community, but also like if you like their idea, I would generally reach out to them and be like, hey, I really like what you're doing. Can we do an Instagram live and talk about it? Because that would be a good way to introduce both of your brands. And then you could take off from your story sale like the next week from there. Like, hey, I had a really good experience with this brand. We both have a love for the moon, and we created the series Check Hers Out, Check Mine Out. So it could be very like collective too.
Well, as like a creator, I feel like you have so much that you could share about. You could start by showing like what materials you use. Like something that I do is like today I posted some fabric that I bought and I did a question box like, what do you think I'm going to make out of this fabric? And then people like put in all their guesses. Then I was like sharing some of their guesses. And then I told them, oh, we're making bucket hats. And people like were like, oh, yay, I'm so excited, stuff like that. So you could start right at the beginning where if you just had that raw material and and you don't have to show yourself if you don't want to, you could just show like, I know some artists will like to show their workspace, and that's something that people become familiar with. So they'll show like pencils or whatever. So you could show that and be like, oh, look at what just came in the studio today. Like, what do you think I'm making? And then when you get closer to the drop, you can say, oh, like this, here's the finished product. You can show them like the process, and you can show them the finished product, or you can show them like a snippet of the famous product and say like, this collection is launching on this day, and do a countdown. I always do like a countdown, like within like 1 to like 3 days before I do a major launch. And I start the sneak peeks way in advance. So like I did an Asian food like collection, and I was like, what Asian foods will be in this next collection? And people commented, and then I was given all these ideas for the future too, of like what my customer wants to see. So that was also super helpful, as you can kind of use that as a feeler to see what they're looking for. So I would start right at the beginning, show them the process, like every step of the way. You don't have to show them the whole thing. You can do little peeks that gets people's like, ooh, like what is it? And I think FOMO is like a big selling tool. So I use that a lot. And then if something's selling well, I'll be like, okay, we're half sold out of this. And then that kind of gets people a little bit more FOMO. Or if like a collection does well, I'll be like, wow, like thank you everyone, we completely sold out. And then they know the next time that they need to get on right away and get it. And you can even like make up the FOMO. It's okay. Like you don't have to lie, but you can just be like, wow, so many people are interested in this. Or like, oh my goodness, like half the products in my collection are gone already. With me with apparel, I want people to buy when it's full price. And so that's always my goal, is to try to sell it while it's full price. And then, because I know when I do a sale, lots of people will buy it when it's on sale, but I want most people to buy it when it's still full price. Oh, and as far as showing your face, it's totally your comfort level. So I've been in a branding course where the person who is teaching said, like, you absolutely need to show your face all the time. But for some people, it's not their brand to show their face. Like if you're doing like introverts club shirts, like showing your face does not make sense. So like you don't always have to show your face, but yeah, it is a good tool. I feel like it was definitely organic, because as I said, my brand started to fulfill a need within my own family. And so I've always been creating for my own kids and my own family, and using my values in my brand. And it's actually been amazing on social media, like projecting those values. I've been able to attract a lot of people with similar values to me. And so I definitely think it's organic. And then, yeah, like Google Analytics and Facebook Analytics definitely confirmed a lot. Like I had a feeling most of my customers were women, and I had a feeling that most of my customers lived in big cities, and that they had disposable income. and I was able to really know those things. And that's really helpful down the road when you start growing your business and you want to start running advertisements and doing paid advertising, because you want to try to define the people who are buying your products so you're sending ads to the right people. So that's where like the analytics side is really useful. But as far as just the value side of finding my customer and my brand, I feel like that was really kind of an organic thing.